Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. Today is June 21st, 2022. If I could ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, do we have any amendments to the agenda? Robert?
Madam Chair, under the appointments part 2 of 2 under my report, if we could just add, we just got it in today, the reappointment for the MART Advisory Board. We'll add that to the appointments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Agenda's approved. Any announcements? All right. So I do have one thing I would like to say before we go on with the rest of the agenda. So last week, a very long-time volunteer to this town passed away, Mary Spinner. Mary Spinner served this town as a volunteer, as an elected official, as a volunteer on other committees for up to 30 plus years. Okay. She had resigned during the pandemic because of not being able to come in for the meetings and everything. Otherwise, she would still be with us in there. The seat next to Alan is where she would always sit. That was her seat. So for those of you who are thinking, geez, who's Mary Spinner? Well, if you had been watching over the years, she was that little white-haired lady that sat right there. She, I don't think, ever missed a meeting. I think in the one time that I had been here on this board that she missed the meeting, it threw us all for such a loop that we actually sat there for a moment like, can we hold the meeting if she wasn't here? It was so strange that night. It turns out, thankfully, she had gotten word to, I think it was to Robert, to let her know that it was the one rare occasion where she had a conflict. But it was just kind of funny because that's how strange it was if she was not here. She took the most meticulous notes that you could ever imagine. She was a nurse. She kept her certification for her nurse up to date, I'm sure, until the day she passed, because it was so important to her. What she gave to this town should always be remembered. Sadly, she didn't necessarily feel like she had been appreciated when she left the Board of Health, when she resigned from all her committees and everything, and she put that in her resignation. And I can only hope that somehow, and I said this before, that she or her family or friends understand that that was an oddity, that you may have felt that way that day, because you were appreciated. What you did over all these years should be appreciated, never forgotten. She served, she loved serving, she lived to serve, and thank you so much, Mary. I didn't realize how much I missed you, but I have really missed you, and I can only hope that you are in greener grass right now. So if I could have a moment of silence for Mary Spinner, please. Okay. All right. Now, on to the agenda and happier moments. Okay? Mr. Hogan, would you please join us?
Get tax classification flashback.
So normally when you are before us, it's usually for reasons that all of us go, crap. Okay?
I want to take a break.
But tonight, we get to recognize you and all that you have done for this town. So tonight, we are honoring your upcoming retirement, which I believe is effective July 1st.
Yes, it is.
Okay, what are you going to be doing?
Resting up, getting in shape, and seeing what doors open in the future. Yeah, just
Yeah.
no
Well, I'm
real
sure the
plans.
first thing is to turn off the alarm clock, right?
I haven't needed an alarm clock for an awful long time. It's such a machine. I got to get off the hamster wheel and just sort of.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, takes a while. So tonight, this board would like to recognize you as far as a certificate of recognition. Oh, my apologies. Did you two want to say anything before I read this?
Please, go ahead.
Okay. So we have a certificate for you, and this is being presented to Thomas S. Hogan Jr.
Correct.
And of course, your name, Tom Hogan, and then our former moderator was Tom Horgan.
Yep.
So a lot of times there was some confusion. But this is to recognize your valuable recognition and gratitude on your retirement after a distinguished 38-year career in municipal property tax administration, of which the last 25 were in dedicated service to the town of Ayer. On behalf of the town of Ayer, we thank you for your dedicated service and wish you all the best in your retirement and future endeavors. Best wishes. Signed, Janice L. Livingston, Chair, Sean C. Copeland, Vice Chair, Scott A. Hood, Clerk.
Well, thank you very much. That was wonderful.
I joke that, usually when we see you is at tax classification, which usually is something we all go, but I think it shouldn't be overlooked is that you and your team were very meticulous in making sure that the data you brought forward to this board was accurate, and that all of us understood that even though we had to make a change in rates, why we were doing it, so we had all the information, and that was because of you. And you always brought integrity to this table. And I have no doubt you will bring integrity to whatever you do next. And we hope that it's a lot of fun, whatever you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. So are we going to do a photo or?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Do a photo.
Do it front
No
flat.
kidding.
Yeah.
How about that? Kind of hoping for a jet ski, to be honest with you.
You wanted us to
He said he
do
was
a
hoping for a jet ski.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, we'll give you the last version.
Here you go.
Who would you like me?
In the middle. In front of us, we'll go behind you.
Like this?
You hold up your certificate. You can come back a little bit. So we look like we like each other.
We like each other.
Can we actually shift this way, just the hair? Thank you. And then- Perfect.
Thank you, Allie.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been a privilege.
Same here.
It really has.
Thank you.
You're the best.
All right. Anyone here for public input? Okay. All right. Oh, now let me go back to the other one here. So I know what we're doing. All right, so next up is the ratification of the appointment for our new assessing administrator. If you would please come forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Miss Linda McQuaid, our new assessing administrator. Robert, is there anything you...
Yep, Madam Chair, members of the board, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Ms. Linda McQuaid before you this evening, and we're looking for your ratification of her appointment as the next assessing administrator, as you mentioned, Madam Chair. Linda is coming to us from the town of Boxborough, where she is the assessing administrator. Prior to that, she had been the assistant assessor in the town of Westford. The board has in your packet, as is the public, her extensive resume and qualifications. Just so the board is aware of the process, we advertised the position for 2 weeks on all of the town's social media as well as the Mass Municipal Association. We had 4 applicants. Of those 4, the Ms. McQuaid, without question, was the most qualified. She was interviewed by myself, Mr. Hogan, Ms. Antonellis, and I'm recommending her for appointment. Just the appointment would be effective July 6th. I know in my materials it says July 5th, but Linda has one more day for Boxborough. So we're recommending her appointment to be ratified July 6th, 2022 through June 30th of 2025. And then later this evening, we'll meet in the executive session regarding her personal service contract. So that's sort of an introduction. And of course, Linda's here to answer any questions that members of the select board may have.
Other than just a job opportunity or whatever, was there any other, were you looking to move up past Boxborough?
It's funny, I just happened to see Ayer on the website, and I live in Dunstable, so
okay.
it's much closer. It's like 11 minutes each way, and I don't have 495 to take. So it actually is going to save me some time in the morning, which is great.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I've been in Boxborough. It was a great opportunity, and I just happened to see it, and it was a perfect fit.
Well, welcome. Yeah. Do you guys want to ask anything?
No questions, but welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. No, I look forward to working with all of you.
You got some tough shoes to fill.
Well, I had some tough shoes in Boxborough too. Yeah, so I'm used to it.
You look like you're up to the challenge.
I am.
No.
Yeah.
And Madam Chair, if I could just add to the board, as I think I might have mentioned the previous meeting, so Ms. McQuaid will start on July 6th, and there'll be a brief period of transition, which I think is in the town's best interest. Mr. Hogan will be working with Linda on a very limited capacity, just to get everything up to speed in a short window. That funding is in the budget as we speak, but I think given the importance of a smooth transition, I think that's in everybody's best interest, and I appreciate Tom for willing to do that.
Yes, thank you, and it is appreciated. I think I'm so glad that it's done that way here, because I've seen too many times where turnover is not done. It could be done.
Yeah.
And nobody does turnover anymore because they just think, well, you've been hired, here's your job. And it's like, well, I don't even know where the on switch is for the lights, So thank you, Tom, for doing that and everything, and you'll be in good hands.
Yeah, I know that, and I appreciate it. I said to him, "Are you gonna be here my first day?"
They've actually already met a couple of times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So-
okay, all right.
Yeah, sorry. But I was going to do it more.
No, it's okay. I'll make a motion to ratify the appointment to Linda McQuaid as the assessing administrator effective July 6, 2022 for a 3-year term through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
All right, and next up, Alan. Come on down. A request for waiver from appraisal requirements. Oh, good.
BIB, brief is best. Okay.
All right.
Thank you and good evening, and through you, Madam Chair. We're just requesting tonight, I think we have submitted 2 draft letters. One for you as the chair, the chief elected official of the town, and one for the select board as a whole. This is with regard to the proposed Chapter 40B project at 65 Fitchburg Road. And I will defer to Alicia Hersey, who is the co-manager of the project, to give you any details, and if we can answer any questions.
So the project, the nonprofit that is proposing this project is NOAA, and they have a project eligibility letter from the state, but in that there is a clause saying that the appraisal was a little bit high, which will affect their tax credit money. I mean, a little bit low. So, sorry. And so, because they're proposing to pay $1.7 million, and it appraised out at $995,000. And so, but the state gives them a chance to ask for a waiver on that appraisal. And the state gives them 3 options, and first they say that it has to be requested from the elected town official. So Janice, that's you. We need a letter requesting that. And the second thing that they do is they need to prove, they need to support one of 3 things, and this is in the state requirements. Upon a written request from the chief elected official, the subsidizing agency may waive the appraisal requirement, providing the owner submits satisfactory evidence of one of 3 things, such as local tax assessment, a limited appraisal, or an opinion of value from a licensed real estate broker. So we've worked with NOAA on this, and the reason for getting the waiver is because it will affect the money, the tax credit money they can get from the state. They are not supposed to overpay for a property. Now, when this was appraised, it was appraised, I think in 2021, fall of 2021.
September of 2021.
And the real estate market was going crazy. The comparable properties they used were questionable. And so we gave them a number of different pieces of information to help them make their case to the state, because they really need this tax credit money. It's going to help with the subsidizing of the property, because it is going to be subsidized units. A number of the units are going to be subsidized, and that tax credit money is very important for them to build this project. So Alan has done a great job. I've been helping them with giving them different comps for their appraisal, and Alan has been out banging, shaking all the bushes and getting letters of support all over.
Yes, and just, contextually, we've received the letter of support from Congressional Representative Lori Trahan, from our state legislative delegation, Devon's Enterprise Commission, the Chamber of Commerce, our places of worship, which I'm so pleased about in town. And the whole point is, as we all know, we have a housing crisis in Ayer today. We need, to deliver more housing. And the great thing with this proposed project is it's 106 units, 100% affordable, the entire development. So this is why everyone's really rallying around this. And the bottom line is simply this. We're just requesting DHCD if you'd give us an opportunity to do an updated appraisal. Because believe it or not, just in the last 10 months, what's happened to Ayer real estate in just 10 months. So we're just saying if we could just have, an update, to submit an updated, and then, hey, whatever happens, happens. So it's really that simple.
So quickly, just for clarification, the property that we're talking is 65 Fitchburg Road. It's map number 11, lots 27, 30, 31, and 53. I have the parcel IDs, and it's about 10.59 acres, okay? And so that's just for clarification for people who are listening, if they want to know what we're talking about. And we're requesting if you would give a letter of support, and also a letter from the chair requesting this consideration from the state.
So the appraisal came in lower.
Yes.
Okay. And this was going to affect the tax credit, which originally they thought that the appraisal was higher. right? I just want to make sure I didn't lose you.
So what happens with the state is with a 40B, there's all sorts of requirements, including what you pay for the parcel of land that you're going to create the 40B on.
Right.
And this does not, because it has to appraise you out at the time of the appraisal at fair market value to the price that the person is, the group was paying. And they can't use state money to buy the parcel. They're not going to use state money to buy the parcel. They just want it eligible for all the tax credits. And so they're going to be using their own money to buy the parcel, but they want to be eligible for tax credit representation.
I think I followed. All right. Any questions, anyone?
I don't have questions.
No questions, thank you.
Okay, so you have 2 letters, one for the board, and then one from me. Okay,
As the chief elected official.
right, okay.
Do you need 2 motions?
I think 2, probably, yeah.
Alright, so I'll make a motion that the board approve the letter to Alana Murphy from the Housing Development Division as presented in the packet.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
I'll make a motion that the board approve the application project eligibility letter to Alana Murphy, the Deputy Director at Housing Development Division, from the chair of the select board as presented in the packet.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here, you take your chair away and I'll do this one.
All right, Dan,
All right.
how are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's the board? All right.
Doing good.
Excellent. Okay, let me get my.
You finally got the agreement for.
Not exactly.
So many times I've walked right into that trap over the years.
So the first item is the agreement for wastewater treatment and disposal services with Mass Development. So I've been hounding them to get this done, as you know, and we're all frustrated here that it's been 6 months since it expired and we're still signing amendments. So I reached out.
What's the excuse now from?
So the excuse is legal. They say legal, they're short-staffed and they're taking on too much workload. So I spoke to a few people over there and I've gone up the ladder saying this needs to be done. We're only extending this 1 more month. The next select board meeting is July 13th. And we need to have this done by then. I don't see why it's taking so long. It's just been backburnered by their legal squad. So I talked to I believe it's the vice president over there, and she is going to make sure that legal pushes it to be done for us next meeting, July 13th. So right now, what we have is an amendment to continue with the current contract with the modifications we made last amendment for the lower capacity we are required to send to Devon's, extending it to July 31st. And that's for execution
So just.
by the board. Yeah.
This would be for, an explanation for all. What would be the repercussions if there was never an agreement?
I don't, we need one in place to be able to send our sewer to Devon's. If we don't have an agreement in place, we don't
Right.
have that excess capacity. So there are times where our sewer plant, especially in the springtime when we have higher flows with snow melt and rainfall, that we do need to send flows to Devon's.
Yeah.
And that's why we have that excess capacity there. We've reached our 80% average design flow. So that would be the repercussion. If we don't have Devon's, we need it for our 80%. Otherwise, our plant is over its capacity.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I wanted to just explain for everybody, so, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, hopefully, you'll finally, rattle the cages over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. So, any questions?
I guess the only other question is if this isn't settled by the next select board meeting, will we just extend it another month?
That's what we'd be eyeing at is another, so at that point, we may have to consider other options to make them move.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve amendment number 4 to the agreement for wastewater treatment and disposal services between Massachusetts Development Finance Agency and the town of Ayer, Massachusetts, as presented in the packet.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. All right, that's approved.
Okay. All right, the second item, it sort of came out of the blue a little bit. So the second item is the West Main Street Bridge over the Nonocoicus Brook, which we've talked about a lot recently. And as part of my discussions I've had with MassDOT about various bridges in town, they did mention, I spoke to the Assistant District Bridge Engineer for District 3, and he mentioned potential for MassDOT to provide the funding, the gap in funding, to replace that bridge. I went through the whole story of how we bid it. It came in at about 2.7 million. We only had 1.7. Now we don't have a small bridge grant. And so they have some funds from the bipartisan infrastructure law and some other pots which may be able to supplement that funding. So working with him, he indicated to have the board prepare a letter requesting funding for this project to get it completed. So the project, as you know, it's designed, it's pretty much ready, just needs to be reworked to go back out to bid. And then if MassDOT was able to provide that gap in funding compared to what we still have allotted, we could get the project done sooner rather than later. So I think it would be a good idea if the board would I'm actually currently working on preparing the letter, but if the board would sign it off under their letterhead, and I'll work with the town manager's office to finalize the letter to request funding from MassDOT for the bridge.
No, that sounds great. We're all for other guarantees.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Amazing, this little bridge that nobody realized was a bridge until you told us that it needed to be repaired
Right.
and replaced, has caused so much fuss. It's just.
I know, it's been,
It's just the small
we gotta
little
get it
thing.
to go away
Oh
and
my
be new.
goodness. I remember when it first got discussed, we were all like, what bridge? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's a bridge. So, all right. So, any further questions?
No questions?
Okay. All right. So,
I'll make a motion that the board approve sending a letter to MassDOT as put together by the Ayer DPW regarding the West Main Street Bridge over the Nonocoicus Brook.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
The chair says aye.
All
Did
right,
he
great.
pronounce that brook?
I have no idea.
That's why I was like.
Nonocoicus is what I believe. but don't-
Nonocoicus?
Yeah, don't
Okay. All right. That
don't
was very
mark
good.
my words.
Scott, I was very impressed. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Again.
Robert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. In your packet, you have the town warrants that were reviewed and approved since the board last met on June 7th. Just briefly, in terms of the administrative update, our primary focus this time of year is obviously the year-end, the fiscal year-end, closing out various projects, various accounts and so forth. We are in a position that we've begun to tee up the various capital projects that this board and town meeting supported for FY23, and we'll have a status update in the near future for the board as these projects move forward. We continue to, a very busy time, as I mentioned last time, in hiring various positions, some that are vacancies as a result of folks retiring, and then some of the new positions that were supported by town meeting. And we're also in the process of finalizing the collective bargaining agreements that this board approved in the form of the MOA, getting the final contracts together in advance of June 30th. The cell, Ms. Antonellis has been working diligently on the cell tower lease contract that town meeting had previously approved. So a lot of nuts and bolts administrative things this time of year. I do want to thank the Assistant Town Manager, Ms. Antonellis, for all of her efforts while I was out the past 10 days or so. She was awesome. She was awesome, and you're always in good hands with her. So I appreciate everything during this busy time of year when I was out. I don't know if there are any questions from the board on any administrative matters. I just have a couple of items this evening, and one is sort of the initial discussion about goals and so forth. Okay, so under the appointments, part 2 of 2, and I want to thank again, Ms. Antonellis for putting this together, and you have the memo in your packet, and as amended through the chair this evening is also the representative to the MART Advisory Board. Historically, from each of the towns has been either the town administrator or the town manager. I've been it for the last 12 years, and that's what I'm asking if the board's willing to reappoint me for a year to MART. They meet once a month at noontime. It's usually the second Tuesday of the month. And I'm also...
It was Thursdays.
It used to be, yeah, yes. And I'm also a member of the Finance Committee, the subcommittee for MART. So that would be subject to, that's a one-year term, subject to approval by the board, and there's a form here for signature by the chair. The other ones that are in the Ms. Antonellis' memo, the Conservation Commission, Mr. Mark Phillips, reappointment for 3 years. On the Council on Aging Board of Directors, Ms. Janine Nichipur for 3 years. The Historical Commission, Ms. Ruth Ronimus for 3 years. And then not seeking reappointment was Ms. Jeanette Brockway, who had been on the Council on Aging, Cultural Council, is not seeking reappointment. So those are before you for consideration.
You guys want to tackle Robert's appointment first?
Sure. Sounds good.
Do we want him?
If I could. Sorry.
Carly has something to say about that. Wow.
Throwing her hat.
No, the Montechusett Joint Transit Commission, we have to make that appointment as well. Traditionally, Select Board Member Copeland has served in that role. But we missed it on accident last time, so that one is still outstanding. I just wanted to put that on your radar.
Okay, so let's tackle Robert.
So, make a motion to reappoint Town Manager Robert Pombrand to the MART Advisory Committee for Advisory Board for the year beginning July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Okay, now, for the Montechusett Joint Transportation Committee, you were on that. Do you still want to be on it?
I struggle to get to their meetings because they're during the day.
Okay.
They're quarterly, I think, but they're like at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I've been struggling.
Okay, yeah, it would be a struggle for me.
Yeah, probably me too.
Okay.
I can give it a try.
When
I mean,
you-
I can.
Where
Yeah.
are the meetings?
They're virtual still.
Oh, they're
Okay.
still virtual.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to,
I can continue, yeah.
okay,
Try.
all right, but if it becomes a problem, just bring it back
Okay.
to us and
Yeah.
we'll rediscuss it, okay?
Sounds good.
All right then, so I'll make a motion that Selectman Copeland be reappointed to the Montechusett Joint Transportation Committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Okay, all right, now we can go to the rest of this list.
Do we want them as just one?
I think we did them. We usually do them as one.
Right. Alright. So I make a motion for the reappointments of the board and committee members as presented in the packet this evening.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. And so they've been reappointed. Congratulations, everybody, and thank you for continuing to serve.
Thank you.
Okay, where did you want this?
Right above where your name is.
Oh, okay.
Please, thank you. It's two-sided. Thank you. And then, Madam Chair, the last item on my report, as discussed last time, is an initial, where it's sort of the end of the year and the beginning of the new year, FY23 anyhow, was to have a initial discussion on the FY23 goals and objectives for the select board and for the town manager. In other words, as we look to the year ahead, as the board knows, the board has a various statutory functions that are given, each year. The approval of the town meeting warrants, the setting of the tax rate. Each of you are representatives on various key committees, the capital process, the budget, etc. This is, as we look to the year ahead, in addition to all of your statutory and legal and bylaw requirements, and just as my position as town manager has specific duties each year, is to have a discussion as we look to the year ahead. What would the board like to accomplish? What would I like to accomplish, meaning taking direction from the board? In the year ahead, it is when I meet with each of the department heads, what I usually do is ask them to prepare. If we look to the year ahead, 3 to 5 goals that could be achieved. I mean, again, it's not necessarily quantity, more as sort of quality. So just to sort of frame it, as we all know, having been at this table for some time, there are things that could happen tomorrow that aren't expected. There's a lot of things that have to be addressed, but just wanted to sort of start that discussion. So this memo, which I had sent to you earlier today, and you have a copy here, was just, and I may have missed some things or so forth, just to start the discussion. As you can see in the beginning, so these are sort of outstanding in-progress projects as the first sort of 13 items. These are things that are either outstanding to be completed or in progress. And in the interest of time, for example, the senior center facility project, and actually the working group would like to come to the board on July 13th to give an update to the board. There's been some challenges in identifying a viable site, and we can talk about that on the 13th, but that's sort of an outstanding in-progress project. The West Main Street Bridge, the director, tonight just mentioned about another funding opportunity, but I know this board has been involved with that for some time. There's the Main Street, Columbia Street project, the analysis of the underground utilities for Park Street, which
That's
Alan's-
National Grid working.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that, yeah.
Yep. The Westford Road sewer main replacement, which is just about to start, that's with the ARPA funds. The Spectacle Pond Water Transmission Project, that's about to start, that's the other ARPA project. I mentioned here the hiring process of these various positions, the Peroni Park Playground project, obviously the preparation and implementation of the FY23 capital projects, which were supported by this board and approved by town meeting. The implementation of the ClearGov online budget book, which we'd like to also come to the board very soon with a presentation on that project. The issue of town hall, the issue of the acoustics of the Great Hall is something still on the table. And also future spatial needs as we move forward. We're starting to max out in this building in terms of office space, storage, and meeting space. The Fitchburg Road project, which was brought up tonight about the appraisal issue, but that is a major affordable housing project. The completion of the Depot Square project, which is underway, and we're excited that we can see the light at the end of that tunnel, but this board has been very supportive of that. There are probably others that are in progress. Then, if the next one is sort of policies that are, as opposed to projects that are either outstanding or in progress. One is, as Selectman Hood knows, the review and update of the town financial policies. The BI board has been working on that. We want to bring that to conclusion soon. Obviously, with the reconstituted FinCom, have them have a role in, but ultimately, this body also reviewing and approving that. The development of the ARPA spending policy plan for the town. As the board knows, we have till 2026, but with the remaining funding, it should come from this board, is what is the spending policy, the plan, so forth. A review and update of the town's personnel policies. I'd like to get that done sooner than later and have the board obviously review and approve that. The development of the financial policy or plan for the cannabis tax. Again, Selectman Hood knows from by-board discussions, like we had the meals tax and developed a policy to use the meal tax towards the OPEB. The cannabis tax revenue that we've been getting from that, do we develop a policy? What do we use that funding for?
And that's like 3%? Isn't that the max that
Yeah.
we could
Yeah.
get was 3%? And how much is that equated to?
It's
And-
been
Over,
A lot.
since inception,
Yeah.
well over a million.
since inception.
Probably $1.5 million to 2 at this point.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, and so the public wares, I mean, obviously the towns get that money, with the general fund and so forth, but as we've been discussing at the buy board, is there, and we'd like to have that discussion too with the select board and the FinCom, developing a policy, how can we best use that funding? Also, one of the things that has presented itself, and this would involve this board and the Board of Health and the Planning Board, is the issue of food trucks becoming more and more. There's a lot of interest recently with food trucks in town, and one of the things we do need is a comprehensive sort of food truck policies or regulations. And again, some of the departments have begun to look at that on that level, not to reinvent the wheel, but currently we don't have, and I think it's in the best interest of the town, for everybody to have a framework for that. The development of a policy for real estate acquisition, as this board is aware, the acquisition of real estate by a municipality is somewhat cumbersome, my observation, process. I mean, it does require town meeting approval, but there's the purchase and sale, there's the board being authorized. There's a lot of pieces there. Can we develop a more cogent policy on that? And also, what are some guideposts for the acquisition of land? If you recall, there's over $500,000 in the conservation fund to acquire open space land and so forth. The issue of the senior center facility could present itself as needing acquisition of land potentially. The future of the elementary school. So I think as a town, and this would involve this board, the departments and so forth, is developing a real estate sort of acquisition policy. Lastly, the proposed projects and initiatives that we know of for FY23 starting July 1st, the statement of intent in an initial application for the elementary school project, as the board will recall, Dr. Renda did say before this board that they were looking to do that for FY23. Respectfully, I think that the board should have further conversation with him and the school committee in the near future about getting that teed up about the elementary school. Obviously, the development of the capital plan, and Selectman Hood, who is the chair of that, has asked, and the committee does agree, as I put in the note, to include an analysis of the long-term, large-scale capital needs. So, of course, the capital plan, and you've all been involved in it through the years, is a major undertaking. But as we've discovered, we need to have further discussion on the larger items coming down the pike, as they say. So that's a piece of that. Again, it will involve the capital planning committee perhaps initially, but I think that the select board and the FinCom, as we move forward, we need to all be on the same page. Obviously, the development of the FY24 budget, which we're all involved in. I put those on here because just so I know the board knows this, and I know many know this, that there is a lot of time and effort from everybody involved on that. On the second page, on the back, the development of the FY24 rates, which Selectman Livingston has been the chair of that committee. Again, a lot of work goes into that. There are a lot of new issues that present themselves each year. One of the things I've mentioned, and it falls initially in my court, but then will be coming to you and the FinCom, is a review and update of the town's non-union classification and compensation plan. It's about 8 years old. It should be reviewed and updated about every 5. It lost a couple of years with the pandemic, if you will. We need to look at that, review that, update that, and also it would have, potentially a financial impact. We need to look at that whole piece. So I'd like to get that, at least the initial work, teed up for review by the select board, and the FinCom piece would be on the financial part.
Would that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In that review and updating, would that include what Scott's about getting away from stipend?
Yes.
Driven things?
Yeah. So as this board has brought up, our system has, as other towns have, but has evolved because this hasn't been updated. It's not correct. The goal is to update the system to have the most comprehensive, clear system of compensation. What we have is not necessarily wrong, but there's a lot of stipends and variables and, yes, so you're right on. That's definitely a piece of it. We have one contract, union contract this year that will be up. That's the Town Hall Clerical Union. I think, as this board brought up, number 7, which I know departments are working on and we'll have another update, is an analysis and implementation of truck traffic calming in downtown and the issues of traffic, which this board has rightfully brought up, and what can we do, what are the solutions. Issues regarding Devon's disposition, the future of Vicksburg Square, and Ayer's interests in Devon's. I know that many of you have been involved.
And on that note, I mentioned a few meetings ago, and I know the last meeting was mentioned that it was on the action list as far as, getting the select board from Harvard and Shirley
Yep.
to join us. So, was it last week we had a meeting? Was it last week? God, it seems
Yeah,
long ago.
because I was aware.
Yeah, so it was the Devon's Jurisdiction Framework Committee meeting. Honestly, we really named that really wrong. Senator Eldridge joined us, and a representative for Representative Senna, and I found out where he shops at his grocery store. So got him last week. But anyways, they attended, and I mentioned to them the idea of getting this group together. Mentioned, possibly the school, using the school, and having the public come in and us having a conversation. Because so many people don't know what Chapter 498 is. And so many people think that Devon's is its town, and they don't realize. And so everyone seemed to like the idea. So if we can,
I think Alan has a proposed date. He's been working with
Victor?
But I think Alan's idea was slightly different than what I was talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
He
We'll
was
follow
talking
up.
about more like, getting together and walking through Devon's and everything like that, which is a
okay.
great idea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
mine was, we need the boards together,
Right.
all here, and having the public being able to hear the answers from all of us at the same time. And, and basically to really kind of train people on the issues of Devon's. So if we could,
Yep.
so, okay.
Yep. So number 9, or number 8, if you will, is all things Devon's, which is easier said than done. And then number 9 is sort of improved safety improvements to the rail corridor and with the MBTA. As this board is aware, unfortunately, recently we've had a series of unfortunate incidents of individuals being hit and killed on the train tracks. The other piece is the town, with the completion of the Depot Square, as the board knows, the town of Ayer will have completed its commitment with the parking facility at Depot Square to begin. I think the time is, once Depot Square is completed, hopefully in the fall, is to leverage with the MBTA then making some improvements to that platform. Now we know that to make that a handicap accessible platform in 2018 figures was about a $24 million project. That's sort of the long-term goal, but I think from the town, they need to make some other safety improvements and some aesthetic improvements, the MBTA does, of that station. And then of course I put others because there's probably others on the list. Lastly, just to wrap it up, I've sort of just put a space here, the top 5 sort of priorities of the select board. Obviously, we haven't discussed that yet, and there may be more than 5. And then for me, when I was looking at it, some of the top 5, but whatever the will of the board is, obviously the FY24 budget, to include the FY24 capital budget, rate recommendations, and all things budget, is obviously a priority. A review and update of the Town of Ayer's personnel procedures and policies manual. That's about 8 years as well on the update. Review and update of the classification comp plan, as I mentioned. The senior center facility project, and we would like to come to the board on July 13th with the status update specifically about the site piece, the site challenge, and then the development and implementation of the opera spending plan. So I've done enough talking. I just wanted to, and this was just to start the initial discussion.
No, this is great.
There's probably others, and I think what we should do is discuss again on July 13th with the goal of maybe by August coming to an agreement on some of the major goals that we would like to accomplish. Thank you.
But if I may add one more,
Sure.
the fire department ambulance fund, the
Yep.
ins and outs on that, please.
The contracts.
So the fire department, it's, yep, the ambulance and then the mutual aid analysis.
correct.
Yep.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I knew I was going to forget something. So, Madam Chair, perhaps, in the interest of time, I know it's a lot of material, and I appreciate the board taking the time. Please review it. I'm sure I maybe have missed some things. Obviously, you are the chief executive body as the select board. There may be some things that need to be on there. There may be some things that are priorities, some things that are on here that aren't. I think our challenge is because Ayer, and it's a testament to this town, there's so many things going on, and a lot of them are positive and a lot of them are moving towards progress. Unfortunately, like any municipality, there are emergencies and other challenges that present itself. Our challenge is to figure out in this year ahead, so a year from now, what are some of the major things that we would like to accomplish? So,
Oh, I think this is great. So it just triggered kind of a memory. I know a long time ago we had started like every quarter at least, where we'd have like the action item check-off list, and I think, of course, with the pandemic it became very hard, but if we could kind of bring that back so that, like when you do your report or whatever, that it's just like, and by the way, we've been able to click off this, and it keeps the town kind of posted. They probably already know, but there's always somebody who misses that list. So, yeah, you know what I'm talking
yes,
about.
I do.
Yeah,
I made a
okay.
note, and I think related to that, which we'll take a look at too, is obviously we've made great progress with the master plan implementation plan.
Oh, yes.
But I think we should take a look at that too and see what are some of the many of these things are on there, not all of them, but let's take a look at that.
How old's the master plan now? Was it 2017?
2017.
So that was,
Yeah,
so okay, so it's a 10-year plan,
10-year.
so it's been 5 years, so all right,
Yeah,
just
halfway
kind
point. Yep.
of, okay. Wow.
Okay.
Jeez.
So,
Well, 2 years of it was really blank.
yes. So that, Madam Chair, that concludes my report for this evening, unless there are any questions from the board.
This
I
is a
appreciate it.
very thorough, thank you very much. So that's a lot of, yeah. Anybody have any further?
No, not tonight.
No?
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. We'll
Thank
look
you.
this over. And-
Mhm.
God, that's some homework to do. All right. Love it. Okay. All right, so that's the end of your report?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, is there any new business or select board member questions?
Nothing for me?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got nothing tonight, okay? All right, so next up, we have the meeting minutes for May 17th, 2022, and June 7th, 2022.
I didn't have any changes.
I didn't have any other.
I didn't say anything. Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 17th, 2022 and June 7th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. All right, and that comes to an end of the public portion of our meeting. I'll make the motion, I'm sitting right here, to move the board into executive session to pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Exemption Number 2, Non-Union Personnel Negotiations, ratification of assessing administrator's personal service contract, and the board will not reconvene into open session. We will adjourn from executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Good night, everybody.